corporate presentation, I would like to call on stage and please put your hands together for Ms. Kiran Dev, Vice President and Business Head, India and South Asia from Disprz. Can we have a huge round of applause for her? So over to you, ma'am.
The mics. Am I audible? A very good morning to each and every one of you. Very engaging session. Sort of flows well for the session that I want to hold. We're talking about, giving technology and empowering employees, and that's exactly what my company does, Disprz. We are in the space of learning technology. We are an enterprise SaaS company, which is focusing around skilling solutions, technology-led solutions to arrive at business outcomes. So we'll keep it an interactive session. Our intent and the flow of the corporate presentation would be that I'll talk a little bit about Disprz, what has our journey been, a little bit about myself, and then I'll just lead you to our solution, which is aligned with the topic today. We're talking about upskilling your frontline for tomorrow, a data-driven approach. So with that, I'm Kiran Dev. I am taking care of South Asia market for Disprz. Disprz, I just introduced you. So I'll just take last 2 years journey, not taking the entire company's journey, but just last 2 years and how, the whole journey has sort of accelerated for us. In 2020, we had a customer base of around 100 clients in a geographical spread of 8 countries, around 500,000 users, active users. Come 2022, we are already 3 times our size what we were in terms of customers. We are at 300 plus clients. We have expanded our user base 4 times, which is around 2 million plus users, active users. And then in terms of our geographical spread, we are present now in 25 countries. And while we have solutions catering to all kind of users within an organization, the real game changer for us has been our solution called frontline enablement. So we are very proud to say we have pioneered frontline enablement as a solution. And when I say frontline, I mean any type of frontline, whether it's operations, as a function, whether it is supply chain, different functions within that, or we are talking about sales. Frontline comprises of all of them. Nearly 80% of most organizations' workforce is frontline driven. And while there are specific solutions which are there catering to a specific need, like sales enablement, like you would have for quicker onboarding, maybe some solution around bite-sized content and learning, mobile solution. But we realize that there's nothing that is catering to this specific segment, which needs a very comprehensive solution, just the way we look at our other employees, the complete employee life cycle. The frontline also needs to be looked at from a complete life cycle perspective, and which also means, if you see the nature of the entire workforce, it's very diversified, distributed, very large in size, which means that it's very important that as much digital footprint you capture on the platform, that is how effective your data would be and the insights would be and the decision making would be. So in our mind, frontline enablement solution is not really just an HR initiative or an L&D initiative. This is a business initiative because this really leads to arriving at business outcomes. The previous presentation, we were talking about ROI. Here you have quantitative way of actually looking at what ROIs you're getting. So let me move ahead. As I said, data, even superheroes need data to decide what they need to do. So essentially, as I was just mentioning to you, that there is entire life cycle of a frontline employee. So if I can quickly encapsulate, there are 3 broad stages in an employee, and specifically a frontline employee's life cycle within an organization. The first part is the onboarding phase. This is one problem area which most clients, and I'm sure many of you will be able to resonate to what I'm saying. Onboarding is the time when it is a problem area. How do you quickly onboard your workforce? How do you make sure during that phase you're able to make people quickly productive? And how are you also making sure that that is not the time that this workforce is dropping out? The attrition is a big problem statement for complete frontline led organizations, and more so in the initial onboarding stage. So I will take you through how, through platform, we are trying to address this, but this is what we see in the onboarding. When you're doing skilling, how can you sort of, take care of these two factors and measure them effectively and take decisions effectively? Once the employee is fit to work, is the next stage, which is generally a span of 3 months to 2 years or 3 years, depending from organization to organization. That is the time where you would want that the performance of that individual is at the optimum. And that's what the focus area is of the organizations. You have various measures, various policies around that. Our endeavor is how skilling can aid, how you can bring in skilling at the point of need, which can drive performance, which also leads to benefit both for the employee as well as the organization. And I'll tell you how we have built certain tools in this phase for you to be able to do this on a continual basis. And of course, then the third part, the frontline based organizations are still grappling in this area. Some of them are still functioning in the two verticals, but more often than not, hearteningly, a lot of organizations have started looking at talent mobility as well within the frontline. So that's where we are looking at how do we give you the visibility that what is your talent pool available within frontline and how you can look to sort of mobilize that as well. So with that, I would, before this, I would like to share a quick sort of case study, because one of our largest clients is Amazon, and Amazon is completely frontline led. And our use case is last mile employee, which is essentially the delivery boys, and how they started their journey with us in India. We are looking at around 1.5 lakh delivery boys in India. And from there on, we traversed to 17 other countries beyond India for the same use case. So I'll just request if we can quickly play that video. So whatever screenshots you saw, they are really on our platform. Happy to show it to you when you visit our kiosk. But essentially talking about the 3 stages, our entire endeavor, as I started off saying, is capturing data points across all of these 3 points so that you are able to make data-based decisions. Now talking about the first phase, which is onboarding. Our endeavor is to bring the complete experience, which is on the platform, off the platform, the complete blended approach, firstly to the platform, which is a very basic need of any learning platform. But then understanding the user. We are talking about a delivery boy in a tier 3, tier 4 city, maybe in rural areas as well. Very critical ask is they need to have adaptive streaming on the platform. They need to have learning which is available at any point in time when they are on the go. You also need to bring in the entire hierarchy, which is their managers, because without managers, this cannot be done. This is not like a corporate workforce. You need a decentralized way of and democratizing in another way learning. So if you see the onboarding journey is, and also at this point in time, giving you real-time visibility at any stage, let's say if it's a 90-day learning onboarding journey, where is your, where are your early employees? Who are the outliers? Who are trailing behind? You can take actions as you are in that period rather than taking very, end of the period kind of actions. And then comes, of course, once they're ready, how you can link learning to their KPIs because they are measurable outcomes you're looking at it, and how skilling can sort of be, using the tools on the platform, how it can be delivered to them when they really need it, and also bringing managers to also coach. So before I actually share what we have to share in terms of real tools and workflows, we'll quickly do a session. I'll request if you can scan this barcode and really share where each of you are in your journey and what are your thoughts. I'll just give it a minute and then we can kick start. Can we see the question on the screen? And by the way, we are using again a tool which is Disprz tool to give you a sense of how we engage the end learner. I'm just hoping it works. Are most of you able to scan? Okay. So the question is, what is the current mode of training for your frontline workforce? And while there could be multiple, please choose the one which is your most important mode of training your workforce. Can we see the results? So if you see, we've quickly got the results of some of your views. It's still in person, and I'm sure this was a big disruption during pandemic. And that's when most companies adopted a learning technology tool to do so. And then you have, the next would be the mobile LMS, which is absolutely intuitive given the workforce. And then, of course, the other ones. Should we go to the next one? According to you, what is the most important parameter to measure training efficacy? And this is a very interesting space because we have a complete spectrum. There are organizations which are still grappling with how to make sure that we are completing mandatory trainings, are able to, have people spending time to learn. But there are other companies who have moved away from there, and they are now saying that all of these are just required to make sure that their KPIs and their performance is improving. So literally, they are measuring potential vis-a-vis performance. So what I can tell you while we are all answering, what we've done with our platform is we have integrated with a lot of your performance management tools, your CRM, etc., wherever you're storing this data depending on the user persona, and making sure that we are giving you that visibility that with learning, what is it transpiring in terms of their productivity as well as their performance. It's interesting to know we do have quite a few here as well who are looking at performance KPIs. Let me just quickly take this one before we go back. Rank the following in terms of your priorities for frontline enablement: onboarding at scale, bringing performance measurement into learning, periodic training for product and process changes, making content available in multiple languages, so multilingual capabilities, or enabling on-the-job coaching. So while everyone responds, most organizations have a hybrid approach. Maybe a lot of it is happening in different sort of tools like Excels or some Google Sheets to measure this, because this is what we are trying to achieve. But what we have at least evidence that most companies don't have a comprehensive platform where they can do all of it on the same place and actually see and spend more time around looking at data and looking at whether it's effectiveness at a manager level, region level, function level, and trying to do next steps. Most of the time is being sought or spent in administering this and auditing this and making sure that the data accuracy is there. So I think the close ones are bringing performance measurements into learning and periodic training for product processes changes. And of course, onboarding at scale tends to always be across board one of the biggest pain areas for most and priorities for most organizations. So we'll stop here. So while the slides come in, so on onboarding, what we have done is, of course, you can structure a blended learning. You can bring in both the aspects. So how do we control attrition? Attrition is critical that while you are delivering learning, it's important that you're also getting constant feedback through the audience, through the learners, where we are in the journey, and you're able to course correct real time. Secondly, you're also able to appreciate who are your outliers and take a very different accelerated approach towards them. Um, and all of this, a good mix of having different formats of assessments which are aligned with the end user and their ability to sort of do it without buffering is already something that you can structure on the platform. Most importantly, this entire journey, you can, both the learner as well as your manager, as well as the organization can see what's the scorecard, the real-time scorecard while this journey is going through. Can you help me move this? And this is a really important part, that while you do a lot of on-the-job training, you are doing competency assessments, you are doing, there could be a mix of buddy evaluations. How do you make sure all of that comes onto the platform and you're able to see that, where does the person stand? This is very critical. The visibility to the learner is very important so that they know where they stand vis-a-vis what is expected from them. Secondly, at a manager level, you know what really is happening within the cohort you're managing. And at a group level, you know where the audience stands, right? And of course, very interesting ways in which clients are looking at data. Some clients are looking at data more from, looking at the recruiter effectiveness. So if in a certain area you're seeing more dropouts happening, more people leaving, the time to productivity is taking longer, you can measure their effectiveness, managers' effectiveness, the instructor, trainer's effectiveness, the functions effectiveness, locations effectiveness. So there are different ways in which the data is sort of reviewed. Of course, this is where how easy it is on the go for the managers to give feedback on the job. Training has become very, very convenient on the platform, and as you see, it's mobile enabled. I want to spend some time around the second part. Once the person is fit to work, how do you make sure that the employee is at any point in time getting learning? So there are two very interesting things that have been built into the platform. One is that once we have integrated with your KPIs and the sync is happening as often as you would like, in Amazon case, we are doing every 30 minutes. So there, one of the KPIs is that they have a quantitative number of losses because of failed delivery. So they want to make sure that the process that the person is doing is very effective. So essentially, just to give you a visualization, firstly, if there is a KPI drop that happens immediately, and the KPI is linked to some sort of training, because here you have clarity what you're skilling a person for, what outcome, the learning will be automatically sent out to that individual without manual intervention, which means that when the delivery boy is there and suddenly his KPI is dropping because failed delivery has come in, immediately a message will pop in. Please use the scanner a little away from whatever is the measurement. Keep it away from the article that you're looking at. This itself, they have looked at over a year, and they have been able to save sizable amount of money by just controlling this KPI across their workforce. So if first go automated learning goes at the time when the KPIs are dropping, will have immediate impact in terms of the performance of an employee. The second is that a manager who's also on a go is able to see his teammates, where are their KPIs. Learning is one aspect, where are their KPIs, and if there are some KPIs that are dropping for a particular person, they are able to coach on the go, which means that they don't need the person to have face-to-face, given they have vast number of people. All of this coaching that they're giving is subjective, plus they can leverage on whatever content that is available within the organization. And what it does for the organization is that you have visibility which managers are coaching, you're standardizing coaching, you're also giving a structure to that. At the same time, you're also seeing who are really investing in their subordinates. So that is what we're trying to bring in, that you're bringing everybody together and you're able to see that on analytics in terms of effectiveness. And of course, the third part is the impact. Of course, we have plotted this because we have data around performance. We have data around the learning scorecard across the journey of the employee. What we are trying to show you is the most famous McKinsey 9-box matrix. You can actually see where does your workforce fit in. What is the supply looking like in terms of skill sets, in terms of their performance versus potentials, and who are your top performers, who are the ones and what actions you need to take on the basis of that. We have done different cuts for different organizations, where there is cost of what you've spent, as well as the return you're getting in terms of KPI numbers. We have done, as I mentioned, the effectiveness measures also. This also helps you plan for your next move when you want to look at moving people, whether it's mobility across geography or upwards. So our endeavor is to give you a holistic, comprehensive solution, which is totally related to skilling, with a very constructive thought process of aiding an employee to be best in his potential and also seeing an impact in terms of performance. So with a data-driven approach and efficient decision-making, you can turn your frontline into superheroes. So that's the lasting message that I'd like to leave. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope, please do visit our kiosk.
Check. Okay, so thank you. Just stay here, ma'am. Please come on the stage. Yeah. So thank you so much, Ms. Kiran. Can we have a huge round of applause for her for this wonderful presentation? And to facilitate her, I would like to call on stage Mr. Mridul Chandra, VP and HR from Tata Communication. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Mridul?